Since we're currently living in an era of constant horror remakes and reboots, it's only a matter of time before we get a new Nightmare on Elm Street movie. And unfortunately, a new Nightmare on Elm Street movie likely means one thing: a new actor playing Freddy Krueger. And look, I know this sounds sacrilegious. I love Robert Englund's performance as Freddy as much as the next guy. No actor is as closely connected to their iconic horror character as much as Englund is with Krueger. Jason, Michael Myers, and Leatherface were played by many different, big, hulking stuntmen. Roger L. Jackson sure voiced Ghostface in every Scream movie, but 9 different characters and actors donned the robe. The only actors that even come close are Tobin Bell as Jigsaw and Doug Bradley as Pinhead, but neither match Englund's legendary 8-movie run as the Springwood slasher. And yes, sure, a new Nightmare movie could follow the route of the recent Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre films, having Englund play an old man version of Krueger. With the makeup, it would be extremely easy to hide his age. However, Englund has said multiple times in recent years that he's done playing Freddy and has no plans to return to the role for another Nightmare on Elm Street installment. And that's totally fair. The man is 74. It has been 19 years since he's last played the character. Jason Blum did recently say he thinks he can get Englund to return once more, but even if he did come back for one last film, soon it will still be time to pass the torch. So, in this video, I wanted to highlight my favorite choices of actors that I think could take the mantle from Englund and play Freddy Krueger in the next Nightmare on Elm Street films. For those completely unfamiliar with the character, Freddy Krueger is a child murderer who killed 20 children but was released on a technicality. Seeking vigilante justice, a group of local parents hunted Krueger down, trapped him in a house, and burnt him alive. Years after his death, Freddy returned to the town as a supernatural entity, seeking revenge on the parents by killing their now teen children. And the way Freddy kills these victims is within their dreams. Well, inside a victim's dreams, Freddy essentially has unlimited power and can manipulate the dream and kill the sleeping person in any way he thinks up. Freddy gains his powers from fear. The more people that are afraid of him and that know his name, the more power Freddy has. Looks-wise, Freddy has a burnt face from the fire. He wears a Christmas-themed red and green striped sweater and a fedora very fitting for a child predator. Freddy's signature weapon is his knife gloves that he used both in his early child-killing days and within the dream world. In the Nightmare films, Freddy Krueger is much more comedic compared to his other stoic slasher villain counterparts. He's no mute like Jason. He's witty, he cracks jokes, and within the dreams he kills people in ironic and goofy ways. Turning a girl into a cockroach and trapping her in a roach motel, transporting a nerd into a video game, or smashing a girl's head through a TV.
Fuck the prime time, bitch!
In the earlier films, Englund's Krueger was much more menacing, more serious, but as the sequels went on, Freddy definitely became a little bit too much of a jester and a joker. Personally, I think the next Krueger shouldn't be as over the top and silly as he is in the later Elm Street sequels. The character needs to have a balance. As an audience, we still want the underlying dark humor and wisecracking one-liners, but for the most part, Krueger should still be an actually frightening entity. Leaving the theater, you should be afraid to fall asleep. In terms of age, Robert Englund was 43 when the first Nightmare film came out. I think a slightly older actor works best, somewhere between 35 and 45. He needs to be old enough to be the same age as the teenager's parents, as he represents the sins of the previous generation. He also needs to have a presence to him, a strong, distinct voice, and some gravitas. It would be very odd to have some 23-year-old Gen Z Krueger chasing teenagers only a few years younger than him. He needs to have a sense of maturity and stature. But at the same time, it just doesn't make sense to replace the 74-year-old Englund with a 65-year-old actor. They need to find an actor that can play the character for the next 10, 20 years if need be. So yes, even though he's a popular choice, I don't think the 66-year-old Willem Dafoe is the best choice. Same goes for the 63-year-old Kevin Bacon. I firmly believe both would make just fantastic Kruegers for 1 to 2 films, but then in 2029, we'd be right back at the same problem and recasting the character for a 4th time. While I'm mentioning recasting, I do have to mention the fact Freddy already was previously recast in 2010 by Jackie Earle Haley. Haley was cast as Krueger, coming off his role as Rorschach in Watchmen. And I will say, I didn't totally hate Haley in the Freddy role. Haley definitely wasn't the worst part about that remake. No actor could have succeeded with that terrible script. I mean, come on, it's already hard enough to live up to England's legacy, and that movie did him no favors. Though don't get me wrong, I also definitely didn't love his version of Freddy either. I understand they went for a more serious, darker take on the character, and this in theory could work. I think Haley's Krueger just went too serious, rather than an 80-20 mix of horror and comedy. Another major issue with the 2010 version of Freddy was the fully CGI face. I think with the new Freddy, you should be looking for an actor with unique facial features that can be built upon rather than completely hidden behind visual effects. For example, think of Bill Skarsgård with Pennywise. They didn't have to CGI his entire face because Skarsgård already had interesting features that could work as the foundation for the character's look. Skarsgård has large eyes and a large forehead. By simply adding makeup and digital touch-ups, his face transforms from uniquely handsome to completely unsettling. This last point in the what I'm looking for section perfectly transitions into my first choice for the next Freddy Krueger, Matt Smith. Matt Smith is the first actor that comes to mind when I think unique facial features. He has a look that I could easily see transformed into a menacing Krueger. I look at him and even without any Photoshop, I can already somewhat see it. After Smith's long run playing the iconic Doctor on Doctor Who, Smith has had terrible luck picking major film franchises. Terminator Genisys, Rise of Skywalker, Morbius. Smith is a talented actor and deserves to be in something that isn't utter shit. Nightmare on Elm Street would be a great fit for his next big role. Smith has the look, he's the right age at 39, he's got the acting chops, and he definitely could play an awesome Freddy Krueger. If you aren't convinced and want to see Smith play a horror villain, just check out his equally charming and menacing character Jack from Last Night in Soho.
Everybody else is doing it. What makes you so special? Oi!
She said no!
We all have to start somewhere. Sandy, don't be a damn fool!
Another popular choice I've seen online is Alan Tudyk. Tudyk would be a great option if they were going for a more comedic Krueger. Tudyk is consistently funny in movies like Dodgeball, Death at a Funeral, and Tucker and Dale vs. Evil.
You okay?
I could easily envision a veteran comedic actor like him delivering the necessary one-liners and puns. Plus, Tudyk has a long list of voice acting roles, so he definitely could transform his voice and pull off the deeper, more commanding tone synonymous with Krueger. Really, my only problem or main question when casting Alan is could he be intimidating or frightening enough? In terms of villains he's played in his career, Tudyk has voiced King Candy in Wreck-It Ralph, Duke of Weselton in Frozen, and the Joker in the Harley Quinn show. All of these villain roles were certainly more comedic than imposing. Honestly, I'm not entirely sold on his fit as Freddy, but I still want to include him on the list because Tudyk is certainly an intriguing option. Another intriguing choice for the character would be Caleb Landry Jones. Now I'm breaking my own rule for this choice. Jones is only 33, but by the time this movie even gets developed and made, I'm sure he'd probably be at least 35 plus, if not 40. And I love Landry Jones. He's a great piece of shit in 3 Billboards, he's a total weirdo in Antiviral, and he's incredibly creepy and threatening as the brother in Get Out.
With your frame and your genetic makeup, if you really pushed your body, and I mean really trained, you know, no pussyfooting around, you'd be a fucking beast.
Personally, Jones would have been my choice for the Joker over Barry Keoghan. Keoghan? I'm not good at pronunciation. I'm sure I also butchered Robert Englund's name. There's something very unsettling and captivating about Caleb in every role I've seen him in, and if the new movie wanted to go the creepy route, I think he would make for a super sinister Krueger. Next on my list is someone horror fans both know and love, Matthew Lillard. I mean, come on, how great would this be? Lillard already has experience playing a super charismatic, monologuing horror icon as Stu in Scream.
Oh, this is the greatest part. You're gonna love this. We got a surprise for you, Sydney. Yeah, you're gonna love this one. It's a Scream, baby. Hold on a sec. I'll be right back.
Like Tudyk, Lillard has a ton of voice acting experience. He's dripping with charisma, he's an actor I always gravitate towards when he's on screen. And he has interesting enough facial features. This fan edit for him returning in Scream 6 does look very Krueger-esque. I didn't make Lillard my number 1 choice or even my runner-up, because while I think Matthew could deliver a super hammy, over-the-top, balls-to-the-wall Freddy performance, like Tudyk, I'm not entirely sure if Lillard would nail the frightening, reserved, more intimidating aspects of the role. Plus, I also suspect I'm pretty biased. Lillard is one of my favorite actors. I don't see him enough on my screen, and seeing him in this role would be my personal dream. I fucking love the guy. He's the only true Shaggy. But maybe I'm alone in this. Maybe I'm completely out of my mind. I fully admit I may be the only one who sees Lillard as Freddy Krueger. Like I said, Lillard was not my runner-up choice for the character. That spot belongs to Richard Brake. Of the actors on my list, he probably is the least well-known. Brake isn't exactly a household name, but Brake has a lot of qualities I'm looking for. Brake is no stranger to playing frightening villains in projects like 3 from Hell, Off Season, Bingo Hell, 31, and Game of Thrones. In terms of character appearance, I don't even need to over-explain this one. No offense to Richard, but just look at the guy. He's an interesting and creepy looking dude with a certain presence to him. Add some burns and finger knives and Brake could be the stuff of nightmares. If you aren't yet convinced, just watch him in this clip from Bingo Hell, wearing a brimmed hat and flashing a sly smile, and you tell me you don't see Freddy Krueger.
What's the one thing you most desire? What would bring you happiness?
Before I get to my number 1 choice, here are some honorable mentions. Actors that probably could fill the role, but didn't excite me enough to get their own section. Bill Hader, Jimmy Simpson, Johnny Depp, Ethan Hawke, Doug Jones, Stephen McHattie, and Crispin Glover. Alright, and now my number 1 choice for who I think should play Freddy Krueger next. Michael Shannon. Michael Shannon checks all my boxes. He's 47, so he definitely feels mature and commanding. He has a powerful voice, he has a strong presence. He's played a number of frightening villains in Man of Steel, 99 Homes, and Shape of Water. He's also done comedy in Knives Out, They Came Together, and The Night Before. Even in this stupid comedy sketch for Funny or Die, he flexes both his serious acting and comedic chops.
Well, it's time someone told you, no one fucking likes that! I will fucking cunt punt the next person I hear doing something like that, and I don't give a fuck if you SOR me. I will fucking assault you.
He's a total chameleon that can fit into any character. And just look at him. Michael Shannon is the definition of an interesting looking guy. He is, in my opinion, the best actor on this list and one of the best actors working today. You give Michael Shannon a good Nightmare on Elm Street script, and I thoroughly believe he would transform into the next iconic Freddy Krueger.
For our chapter, seriously, I swear to fucking God, if I see anyone being a goddamn boner at tonight's event, I will tell you to leave.
Those were my top choices to recast the character of Freddy Krueger. In the comments below, please let me know who you think would be perfect for this role. Was I wrong to exclude the most popular choice, Kevin Bacon? Am I out of my mind for even considering Lillard? Should England just come back and play the character into his 90s? Do you want to see Shawn Mendes don the fedora and glove? Let me know any and all of your Elm Street opinions in the comments below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, Horror Flicks with Nick. Twice a week I post horror reviews, commentaries, and short recommendations for horror movies you should watch on Netflix and other streaming services. Thank you for watching my video fan casting the next Freddy Krueger. I'll see you all back next week when I'll be sharing who I think should play Elsa in the live action Frozen film. Spoiler alert, it's also Michael Shannon.